Yes, peeps, welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to Tech Bytes with Lex. Today I'll be building out an Active Directory domain network. This is part 2 in the best virtualized home lab series. Make sure to check out part 1, where I went from scratch to build a virtualized environment using VMware Workstation on my desktop. Remember, subscribe to the channel and don't forget to turn on the bell notification. Stay tuned, this one will be a banger. Okay, so in the previous video, part 1 of the Home Lab series, which was actually like an introduction to VMware and how we were building out the lab, we did install Windows 10 on 2 virtual machines. So we installed VMware Workstation, we created 2 virtual machines, we installed Windows 10 on both of them, and we actually had a basic network set up where we just did a ping just to prove communication between the 2 machines. Today we're going to take it a bit further. We're going to add some additional servers, and we're going to install Windows Server, set up and configure Active Directory, along with a member server and a file server. I'm going to go with Windows Server 2016 for this. The reason being, I just want some flexibility so I can upgrade the operating systems further down the line. I mean, I could go with Server 2022, but I won't have much room to do an upgrade, just to illustrate an upgrade for the domain controllers or the member servers. So we're going to start off with Windows 2016, maybe upgrade to 2019, then upgrade to 2022. So all this will be on the same network that the current Win 10A and Win 10B. Those are the 2 virtual machines that we did create with the network that we're working with right now. Just a flat network, 192.168.100, gateway 100.1, mask /24. So let's get into setting up these domain controllers on these servers. Before we get into that, I made a quick change to the folder structure just to be a bit more organized. We're going to store the domain controllers, servers, templates, and so on. So go ahead and create this folder if you're following this folder structure. If you're following, and then we can proceed with the installation of the DC. So the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to install Windows Server 2016. I'm going to create a VM. I'm going to give it like 2 gigs of RAM, 2 CPU cores, and then I'm going to mount the Windows Server 2016 ISO. After the installation is complete for Windows Server 2016, I'm just going to go ahead and complete a few commonalities like install VMware tools, change the server name, probably install and set up BGinfo. I mean, it's a common things that I don't want to do again, because what I'm going to do now, they're going to use this VM, Windows Server 2016. I'm going to create a template from it, so that if I need other servers that will be 2016, I can just do a quick clone rather than going over it again and again. Also, it's important when I'm going to create a VM and create a clone from it, I have to use sysprep, and this will prepare the VM for cloning future servers. This will avoid conflicts in Active Directory with the SID. The SID is a unique identifier for each object in Active Directory, so when you do a sysprep, it will reset that VM to factory settings and let it be clean and ready for the network. Alright, so now we're going to install VMware tools, and this is just primarily a set of drivers that we need for virtual hardware. like our sound or Ethernet or video cards and so on. And the next thing I'm going to set up is BGinfo. This is a utility that we normally use to display computer properties on the desktop, like the computer name, operating system, IP address, domain it belongs to, stuff like that. So it's a very useful utility to quickly identify some properties for your machine. All right, the final thing is sysprep. So we're going to run sysprep to pretty much factory reset this VM. So every time when we want to create a new VM from it, first time it boots up, it's gonna do like a factory reset. It's gonna generate new SIDs and allow you to put in a new password, all of that stuff. So it's very essential to do sysprep whenever you're creating a template to be used to clone other machines. Alright, so back in VMware Workstation, remember the new folder structure that we create. We have our templates, servers, domain controllers, workstations. So we just created a Windows 2016 base template that we're going to use for clones of other servers. So this is a template, so I'm going to move it into the templates directory. Now the first machine that we want to create should be our domain controller. So let's go ahead and create our first domain controller. Let's take a look at the network diagram again. So we have DC1, DC2, mem server 1. I think I'm going to change this to a DHCP server, and then we have file server 1. So first thing, we're going to create DC1 for now. Let's go ahead. Alright, so WS 2016 base, right? So I'm going to do a right click on this and do clone. Next, full clone. DC1. I want to store it in the location. Domain controllers, DC1. Okay, finish. Alright, I'm just going to quickly create the remaining servers. I need another one. I'm going to create DHCP server and file server. Clone it from the same template. Alright, so we have all three servers created right now. We still need to create DC2, but we can do that later. So let's move this to the respective folder. So DC should be going domain controllers, file server, put that on the servers, DHCP, put that on the servers. Alright, we are ready to install our DC now. So remember, we did a clone from WS 2016 base to DC. So when we power this on, we should get some factory reset type of look on this VM, right? It should look like a brand new server. So let's power it up and see what we get. Alright, so getting devices ready. That's a good sign that it's actually reconfiguring and welcome stuff, license terms. Accept that, then set our password. Alright, we have our brand new server. Quick and easy, didn't have to do a lot of the stuff that I did before. Alright, so let's go ahead and start installing our DC. So for domain controller installation in previous version, you could have simply have run DC promo. But you see now this has been deprecated, right? So now you have to go to server manager to get the Active Directory roles installed and install from here. But before we do this, we actually need to rename our server. This should be DC1. Reboot. Alright, back on our server. Let's proceed with the DC installation once and for all. Alright, so in server manager. Alright, so next. Role-based feature next, DC1 next. Alright, and I just realized I did not change the IP, so let's do that real quick. Alright, so we're going to use IPv4. IP should be 100.10. Double check. .10.11. Alright. We don't have a gateway yet. DNS have to be itself. Alright, good to go, looking good. So we need Active Directory domain services. And this will come with all these additional modules. Add features. Next. Next. And Active Directory is a two-part installation. It installs the bits first, then it installs the domain controller. So let's hit install. Let's wait for this to finish. Close. Alright, then you see this exclamation, we'll just hit this and promote. Alright, so now for the deployment configuration. The first option we have, add a domain controller to an existing domain. This is if we have a domain already. We don't. This is a new domain. Add a new domain to an existing forest. We don't have a forest. We need the first domain to become a forest. So we need to add a forest. So the forest is going to be tech-bytes. .home. Hit next. So right now it's checking to see if there's any other existing domains or forests on the network. So 2016 functional forest functional level, go with the highest one. Domain DNS server, it's going to install a DNS server on this domain controller. Global catalog, we need this because this is required to do searches for objects in Active Directory and through the forest. We need a password. So let's put in our password. Next. Alright, delegation for this DNS server cannot be created. This is because this will be the first DNS server. If we had a previous or a current DNS server, we could also always create DNS delegation for this, but this will be the first one, so we can skip over this. The net BIOS name should be TechBytes. Alright, that's good. Next. Okay, so here we have our database log file sysvault. Normally I leave it on C, Windows NTDS. It was recommended by Microsoft some years ago to put this on separate drives for performance, but I guess it's been proven it doesn't really offer much performance. So majority of people just leave it on the C drive, leave it in the current location. I'm good with that, so hit next again. Alright, so this is pretty much it. When I next now is going to do a prerequisite check and see if we are good to go with the installation. Another thing, another way we can install a domain controller, this right here is a PowerShell script. So if I should copy this, cancel this wizard and run this in PowerShell, it will do this exact same thing. Or I can edit it, change whatever I want to change, run it as PowerShell, and it would do the same thing. But for me, when I use PowerShell for repetitive tasks. This is a one-time thing. I'm just going to do this one time, finish, and I'm done. So I'm going to just hit next here. It's going to do some checks. You get green. All prerequisite checks passed successfully. Click. We are good to go. Alright, these are some warnings that have been there for decades actually. NT 4.0 security, stuff like that. So we can ignore all of this. Alright, so we're going to hit install and then our DC is on the way. Okay, our DC is back and should be ready. So let's log in and see what's going on. Alright, you know what? I'm going to add back BGinfo onto this machine. Alright, so DC is good. Let's check and see what we have here. So we have Active Directory Administrative Center, Domain and Trusts, module for PowerShell, sites and services, Active Directory, using computers, ADOC, and ADSI Edit. So this is brilliant. Also, we have DNS here, Group Policy Management. So first thing we can check is DNS. Let's see what our DNS looks like right now. So our domain was techbytes.home. So we should have a forward lookup zone. Here we go right here. Looking good. And our only host right now is the DC, which is 10.100. So if you should come here on the DC1, it should resolve. So we're good. If I do a DC diag, this do a quick check on the domain. It's a single domain controller, so nothing is on there. So I mean, check pretty quick, right? So you see everything pass. So that means our domain controller is healthy. It's brand new, so yeah, it's healthy. All right, so that's looking good. Let's look in Active Directory domain. Users and computers. So what we need here now, we need some OUs. We need one OU called user. So I'm going to call this TB users. Need another one. called workstation. In another one called servers, and these OUs primarily used to store objects, groups, users, and then the main use of these is to apply group policy, and we will get to that further down the lines. We can apply policy to make changes to our systems. Alright, so this is looking good. Alright, so the next thing to do is to join our two workstations to the domain, create a domain user, and see if we can log into the domain. Alright, so we have Win10A, Win10B. Let's see if we can join these two machines. So go into System Properties, change, currently on a work group, domain, bytes at home. Alright, currently we don't have a user. What we do, we have the administrator that we can use to add, which is a domain admin, to add this computer to the domain. But it's recommended that you create a new user. So let's create a, let's do another OU. We'll call it sysadmins. Sysadmins, okay. Alright, let's create a user here. Call this guy TB admin. Alright, since we're here, let's just also create that domain user. I'm going to call this guy TB user. Alright, now we should be good. So hit OK, and then we get TB admin, yes, and the password. Alright, welcome to the techbytes.home domain. Now we need to reboot this machine so it can properly register. But if we go back to DC1, look on the computer, this is the default location where we place it, right? We have Win10A here. And we created an OU for this, so normally we'll drag this two workstations. So if we had any policy here, but I think there is policies that it would get, like domain policies, but we didn't create any. So if we have any policy assigned to this OU, this machine would get it when it reboots. Let's quickly do the same thing with B. Alright, so we're looking good. We have both workstations on the domain now. So this is our local user, Tech B. Now we're going to go other user, sign into Tech Bytes. So you see here we have the domain. So we had what was it? TB user. Alright, looking good. We're going on to the domain. At the same time, we can do the same thing with B. Doesn't matter, right? Other user. Then alright, finishing up. Alright, so we're good. We are good. I remember that BGinfo thing that I said. I ran that BGinfo thing manually. We're gonna create a policy in the next video that we have BGinfo deployed every time a user logs in. So right now it will display all the system properties here, which is very nice. Alright, so let's say we're on the domain, right? Let's do a quick check to see. So to my TB user, let's check the DC we logged down to, DC1. Net config workstation, and this give some more information. Win 10B, tech bytes at home, TV user, tech bytes at home. So this is good. This is on the domain, and we are good to go. I think we could do the same thing for this, but it should be the same. Yep. Alright, that's it. So we have both machines on the domain. We have our domain controller running, and we are looking good for this. Alright, so that concludes this video setting up Active Directory network. So what we did primarily, we installed Active Directory and we joined the two workstations that we created in the previous video. In the next video, we're going to continue to build out on our environment, right? So we're going to add a secondary domain controller. So this will allow for replication. Then we're going to also create our DHCP server, set up a DHCP scope to assign IP addresses to the workstations. Then we're going to create our file server, create a file share. So yeah, definitely appreciate you staying with me to the end of the video. Remember to like and subscribe and to turn on the bell notification so you can be notified of new videos. Don't miss the next video. We're going to do a lot more, and we're going to be getting more advanced. So yeah, bless up. Thanks for tuning in. Until next time, I'm out.